Hey guys, this is Doll Zero here. I'm going to show you how to farm Act 1 on Inferno. I've been running this farm, or this run, for a while now. I can do it pretty quickly. It takes me about 30 minutes to make a run, and generally I get anywhere from 15 to 30 rare drops. Since it's Act 1, I generally ignore the blue items, so it makes things a little quicker for me. Start off, you want to choose the quest, the Cursed Hold. That'll set you up at the furthest waypoint you can possibly be at without actually having killed the Warden. I like to definitely get up my 5 stack going and kill the Warden and the Butcher as quickly as I can. Now, if you don't know, every time you kill an elite stack while you're at level 60, you will get what's called Nephilim Valor. Every thing of Nephilim Valor you have will increase your magic find by 25%. I think it also increases your gold find. And once you hit 5, which is the maximum, you're guaranteed to get a rare drop from every elite group that you kill. So generally it's a pretty good way to farm items if you need to get some rares, which pretty much everybody who's playing is probably trying to find the best stuff they can. So typically I just want to go through and get these stacks as quickly as possible. The point for me is to get rare items, so I do want to kill off as many elites as possible. So if I see something like this, I will hit it up because I know for a fact that there's going to be an elite group when I run this. So this will be my first stack likely, and I don't know, it's a good way to get going. Generally I'll come to the Festering Woods first because there's a couple of dungeons here that are pretty easy to find and pretty close together, and they each also have an elite pack guaranteed in there, so I almost always will come out of here with at least 2 elite valor buffs from the Nephilim. So basically I'm just going to destroy these guys here and see if I can find those other little spots real quick so I can get the Nephilim going, and then I will move into the next area. Alright, kill these guys. Now, since I'm playing in Act 1, I'm not really using all of my high quality gear. I'm basically just running with, I got a lot of decent stuff, and it's got some decent magic find, so it's kind of what I'm running with right now. I don't have the best gear on, but it does make it a little easier for me to get some better drops out of this. Act 1 isn't really, crazy for good drops. I think there's like something like a 3% chance or something, a 2% chance that you'll get a level 63 item dropped from these guys. So I don't know, I usually get like 1 per run, which ain't too bad. Sometimes I'll get a little bit more. Sometimes I won't get any, but hey, that's how it goes. I'm actually feeling pretty lucky right now because I already found 2 elite mobs, and I haven't even found the first little area to go to in here. So that means that by the time I finish with this, I will probably have 4 Nephilim stacks, possibly even 5, before I go to the cemetery, which is generally the second area I'll hit. The reason I hit the cemetery is because there's almost always going to be there's always 3 dungeons like real close to where you can jump to with the waypoint, but generally there's almost always going to be an elite in each one of those dungeons as well. The only time there isn't is occasionally you'll get to the dungeon where the Chancellor's Tomb is, and sometimes there won't be an elite guy in there if it's the Chancellor's Tomb, but the other 2 will always have one, and sometimes you'll find an extra one just in the yard area. So it's always worth going there to if you want to get your Nephilim built up real quick. As soon as I finish up with that, then I'm gonna hit up the dank cellar, and if that's there, I'll just kill those guys and get a few items real quick, and then I'll head off to fight the Butcher and the Warden. I'm already getting some decent drops of don't even have full Nephilim Valor, and I've already gotten like 5 rares. That's not too bad at all. I'm just going to ignore all these little guys. They don't really matter. Usually they don't drop anything that's any good anyway. The only time I will bother with it is if there's a bunch of them herded up into like a group, and then I can maybe kill a ton in a few seconds, and that I find is worth the time, but generally it's not going to be worth my time to fight every little dude that I come across, because most of the time, like I said, they're not going to drop anything. Man, these arcane guys can be a pain in the butt. You don't ever want to get caught standing in that fire either. It's never a fun place to be. Alright, I took him down. Let's clear this up and get out of here. Now, the only time I ever go and kill all these little guys is if I plan on using a town portal to get out of here. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get out of here if I got 5 guys swinging at me. Now, the reason I use a portal to get back to town is, well, generally it's a little quicker than me trying to fight my way through whoever is still alive. Oh, here we go. Here's the other one. Ooh, it looked like there was an elite guy when I was going in there. I'll have to go back and kill him. Now, right now I'm using a pretty basic setup with skills. I use the Revenge, and I use the War Cry, and I use the Ignore Pain, which I see pretty much everybody using. I like the Berserk because, you know, as you just saw a second ago, I got frozen up by all of those little ice blast things, and all I had to do is hit the Berserk, and it pulled me right out of the frost, like frozen state. You could ignore Nightmare with it. You could ignore Prison with it. Pretty much anything that's a movement-based effect, you can ignore while you have that. So generally, that's why I like to use Wrath of the Berserker. And sometimes you really need to up your DPS, and that's a good way to do it. Generally, when I have my normal gear on, I'm only running like... oh, those were just ghosts. I have my normal gear on, I'm only running like 16k DPS, and when I hit the Berserker I jump up to like 21 or 22k, so definitely a good little improvement there. And like I said, I mainly use it just to ignore the status effects. I really hate getting frozen, and I hate the Nightmarish even more, so that's something I do to ignore those things. So right now I'm just running through the cemetery. You're going to find the elite groups here, kill them, get their rare drops, go to the next area. So here we go. Right now I'm using Hammer of the Ancients as my secondary weapon. Generally I will switch that up and use the jump ability, just because if you're getting mobbed by a bunch of guys, sometimes they'll all surround you, and well, that's like the only way to get out from there. So, you know, it's generally a good thing to have. It's like basically an oh shit button, which is something I always like to have. But I'm in Act 1 right now, so I don't really need it. It's not vital that I'm not gonna get like blocked in and killed, hopefully. So generally I'm just gonna ignore the need for that and just use the Hammer of the Ancients. Gives me a little bit more DPS for those battle things. I'll probably do the same thing when I do the stream for farming Act 2, which will probably be coming up here a little bit later. Looks like we got some more guys over there and a treasure dude right here. Let's kill this guy first. That hammer really does a good job of taking these treasure guys out too. There we go. I'll drop that guy. Let's use this berserker and kill these guys real quick. It's already looking like a pretty good run, and I'm only like halfway through it, so hey. Alright, we got one more place left to check out here. So you gotta hit those all those little spots. You never know what you might get. Generally, as I run through these, I tend to hit the tombs up, and those square stash spots, they tend to drop a fair amount of gold, and every once in a while you'll get something else too. I also hit up all the weapon racks when I see them, just because occasionally you will get a rare drop out of them, so I feel it's always worth my time to at least click a button once. Here we go. Now, while I'm still in the cemetery, I want to talk about the little side things you might come across. There's the Jar of Souls, I believe it's called, and then you might get another little quest for like picking up some remains and putting them into a crypt. I don't do those unless I have 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor. If I have that, then you're guaranteed to get a rare drop out of those, but if you don't have it, it's just going to be a waste of time. You don't want to spend your time doing that if you're not going to get anything for it, so generally that's something I will ignore for the most part. You know, if I come across them, but if I got the 5 Valor, which I do right here, then that's something I'll go for. Alright, let's go to the old ruins and see if this dank cellar is here. First I'll hit up this weapon rack. Nothing. That body's never got anything, so I'll just ignore that. And if we're lucky, this first spot right here will be open, which it is not. Sometimes this door right here is open and you can get into what's called the dank cellar, and there's always a couple of little quilled guys in there. One of them's a boss, and generally they drop some decent stuff. You won't always get a rare from them, but I always feel it's worth my time to at least go in there and check out, because even if they don't drop a rare, they'll still drop like 3k gold, and that's generally worth it, especially if you're going to get some gems or something else that you might need anyway. Now basically I'm going to try and run through here as quickly as possible. I'm going to be headed towards the lower right corner if at all possible, since the way out of this section will always be coming from a hallway that's going that direction. So some people wonder why I can always find the exit so quickly in these. It's because I basically follow the same pattern every time. If they're there, you know, I'll find them usually pretty quickly. Just ignore all these little guys, because like I said before, the little guys that drop hardly anything don't really matter. And here it is. Just like that, got through that area. Now I'm using the Enchantress right now as my companion. I like the Enchantress. I like the armor buff that she provides. She's got some skills that are decent. I was using the Templar for a really long time, but the Templar is not as good as the Enchantress. She seems to do more for me. I die less while I'm using the Enchantress, so after playing a little bit with both of them, or I guess playing a lot of it with both of them, I decided that the Enchantress is the way to go for me. You might not feel that way, and if you want to do something else, by all means, go for it. I'm not telling you have to, just from my experience, the Enchantress has been better. Now we want to find these guys as quickly as possible. If we come across some elites like these guys, we'll just kill them. Might as well. We'll get a rare drop out of it. Probably a couple. These guys tend to be a pain though, because they almost always have a lot of life and they take a while to knock down. A lot of these elite guys I can get through before I run out of my berserk, at least 2 of them, and these guys I can barely kill 1 before I go back to regular mode. Occasionally you might see one of these guys getting stunned. That's from my Enchantress. I got her set up with a two-handed wand or two-handed staff that has like a 5% chance to stun. So I feel it's pretty useful for you know, being a barbarian. It definitely is helpful to not have everybody going all aggro on you all the time. Clear some of these guys out of the way. I really hate these glowing guys a lot. It's not that they're hard to kill, it's just they run away whenever you try to kill them, and then they keep throwing all these little extra guys at you too, so they're just really annoying. Hopefully I don't have to deal with too many of them. Looks like there aren't too many of those guys over here. Now when I'm running through here, I generally like to run through the center point at least once. I don't like going in there to fight the warden and finding another elite group, or even worse, a treasure goblin waiting for me, because then I have to deal with them while I'm trying to also deal with the warden, and that can just be sort of a pain in the ass. But by going through once before you get over there, it will give you a chance to check and see how clear it is before you actually have to go and fight the big boss. See, these guys go down a lot quicker than those other executioner guys, especially when they start blowing up on each other. Tomb of Secrets. Still got 2 more of these guys to find. Man, there's a lot of these guys. Oh man, right now I really wish I had that jump ability. I just want to get past these guys. Alright, now all I've really got left to do is go find the butcher and kill him. We'll kill any more elites that we come across along the way. Now the key for getting through this area is to find a hallway that is going to the upper right corner of the screen. Just like that last place I was at, that's the direction you're going to want to go to get to the butcher's area. It's always going to be from a hallway going to that direction, so that's what I'm going to try and look for. As soon as I find one, I'm going to take it, and hopefully it'll bring me to the butcher. Just ignore all these little guys for now. Oh, here we go, some elites. These guys can be a little tough. Especially when they jam me in there with all those, illusions, and then they throw these arcane orbs at you so you can't go anywhere. It can be real hard to deal with sometimes. You see right now though, I'm doing enough damage and soaking enough of their hits that it's not really mattering too much to me. Only got one guy left to take down now. Get low on life, need a little bit more. Let's grab some orbs while we're at it. Ooh, we got 4 items off that, not bad. Oh, I'm out of room, hey. Alright. Yeah, it's a pretty good run so far. That's actually a crazy amount of rares. Usually I don't fill up before I get to the butcher, but hey, he's right here, so that'll work for me. Now my strategy for this guy is basically just to keep hitting him and always stand on a side of him that if he does decide he's going to charge me, he's going to go right into the corner that I want him at. Right there, my enchantress just stunned him when he was about to charge, so he didn't quite hit me, but I will usually stand on the north side of him to begin with and just let him charge into that upper wall, and then I'll try and keep him in a corner or something. Right now, like, my resists are still high enough that I really don't need to worry about this fire here. I can just sit here and soak it. I mean, I can hit ignore pain if I really have to, like if I get into an emergency situation, but usually it's not something I need. Oop, right now I think I need it though. The key to basically maximizing your DPS is to always keep your frenzy going. You don't want to let your frenzy drop below 5 stacks. Also keep an eye on your fury. When it fills up, then start spamming the hammer of the ancients or whatever else you got. I know a lot of people don't necessarily use a skill that uses fury because they like having the extra utility of other skills, but if you're using it, that's generally the strategy I recommend. Try and keep your stacks up and keep your fury in use. And you'll see this guy drop pretty quickly here. Oh, and a bonus, if you kill him while he's stunned, you will get an achievement. I've already got the achievement, so you didn't see it pop up there, but that's something you can do if you have an opportunity, or if you like doing that sort of deal. So I don't know how long that took me. I'd say about 30 minutes, maybe a little less, maybe a little longer, but I already got a lot of rares. So 31 rare drops from my count, so not too bad. That's pretty much my whole run. Hopefully you can learn from that and farm your own items as well. This is Doll Zero. Good, happy hunting, and good luck farming.